In this video, regardless if you're starting your reselling business today, you've been doing it for a while, you're heading into a new financial year, or you really just want to level up and better up your ability to earn an income while reselling, well, this video is for you. What's going on, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Really do appreciate you being here. My name's Chris, and I'm building a business that suits my lifestyle. Now, over the last couple of weeks, we have just finished up FY23 and moved into FY24, and it's a perfect time to really start to put in place some new things that's going to enable you to thrive. Now, I like to leverage that mentality, but it doesn't work for everyone. So this video is standalone. It doesn't have to be about a new FY. It doesn't have to be about a certain time. The time is now. Actually, that is the best time to make a change. So what I want to share with you in this video is something that you can do right now to help your business thrive, to help your business grow, and to help your business get to where you want it to be. Of course, there is a catch. You do have to do the work, but I'm going to talk about what is the actual thing right now. Of course, if you do stick around to the end as well, I do have some show and tell and also the progress of the business in the first week of the FY. Let's dive in. So what can you do today that's going to make your reselling business better? Now, as I said, I like to leverage a new financial year as a mentality way to kind of get myself in the right zone, in the right mood, and just well situated in terms of where I want to be and where I'm going and motivated. But you can do this right now. It doesn't have to be about that. And that is do more of what is working. Now, you're probably thinking, that seems like a no-brainer. Well, it does. It is a no-brainer. Like, you want to do, if you know something that works and it gets you results, so why wouldn't you do more of it? Well, funnily enough, a lot of the time we miss the signs. A lot of the time we miss the obvious information that is in front of us, right below our nose. And for me, I like to track a lot of my data. Like, I track it like a hawk. If you didn't know that, wow, you're obviously new to the channel, but anyone that's been around for a while would know that I like to track all my data, all my numbers, and I like to do that in my reseller spreadsheet. Now, if you are interested in that reseller spreadsheet, you can go check out this live demo that I did with Ethan Reshock. That aside, I like to track everything. Now, when we understand what's going on, we're actually able to make some of these bigger decisions as we progress down the line, as we get more information, as we can identify trends. Now, if you do not track your data in a very detailed way, that's okay. I still have a way for you to figure all this out. First thing you're going to do is you're going to jump on over to eBay and you're going to go to your performance. Basically, your sales performance. You can go to this link if you are in Australia, and that's where you'll be able to find it. As you jump into sales, you'll be able to scroll down and see that you can select between a period of dates. Now, you can pick any date that you would like to visualize. In this case, let's just select this year, but you can also select, another period. In this example, we're just doing for this year. Basically, that means it's going to go from the 1st of January up until the date, which is around the 10th of July right now. And if you scroll down, it's going to give you the best sellers by category, meaning what have been your best categories sold. Now, here you can see mine, what's been selling really, really well for me. Now, we all have our different niches. Some of us only do a niche, but regardless if you're a niche seller or not, if you're an everything seller or multiple category seller, you'll be able to see which are your top categories. Now, if you're a niche seller, there may even be some subcategories of that niche that you can see and understand. So now that you know what are your top categories, ask yourself, did you actually know this? You should have. I would think you have, but you might not have realized the percentage or the weighting that these different categories are having impact on your business. For instance, if you're selling 20% of X and that's bringing in 80% of your revenue, well, there you go. That's something to really, really consider. But we're going to talk about something slightly different. Now that you understand what your categories are, how can we actually leverage this information? How can you use this information to your advantage? So you need to ask yourself a couple of questions. The first thing is, in the last week, what have been your top sales? And in the last month, what have been your top sales? Are these aligned with these categories? I would like to say yes. Now, if the answer is no, well, right now you have a potential opportunity of where you can expand into. So if you've been selling more of something else, and it's been selling well, it's been selling for really good dollars, there could potentially be an opportunity there for you. However, it may have also been an outlier, and it may have been a one-off. An example of this is I sell a lot of clothing now, but I still have books, media in my business, right? In my listings. Now, I'm not going out and listing lots of new ones, but there is still lots of old listings, and I'll sell something after 235 days and it just sells instantly. And I'll be like, what's going on? It doesn't mean that item necessarily is going to keep selling if I keep buying it. it's a bit of an outlier. Someone was looking for it and I knew it was going to probably sell eventually, or maybe I priced it, or maybe I discounted it, and someone's come along and paid a happy $5 for it, or whatever it may have been. So you do need to consider that. Now, if you're at this point in the video and you're thinking, this doesn't really help me, Chris, well, there's a bit more to this, right? There's a bit more. I'm going to try and not leave you hanging and thinking that, okay, all I got to do is do more of what already works. Well, yeah, that's what you do have to do, but ask yourself this question. When you last went sourcing, did you buy anything of the similar to what has been selling or has sold already in the last week or in the last month? And the second question is, did you buy anything that you have not listed due to friction or realize it's not actually worth it, right? Now, these two questions help us understand how we're going about sourcing. Sometimes we go out sourcing, we get excited about things, we buy things because we know they're going to sell, and we buy things because we think they're going to sell. But then we don't actually list them because we realize, oh, it's too hard to do, or I don't have the location to, take the photo of this, and things aren't going in our favor in terms of getting that listed. If something works for you, meaning if you can grab something, like source something, list it really well, and get it up there, and it sells, you want to do more of that. Don't go about trying to do something else which is going to pull you out of process, pull you out of routine, and not necessarily get you the results that you would normally get. Now, I understand there is sometimes outliers to this, because if you know something's worth $100 and you can pick it up for $35 and you can pick up 10 of those for $35, it might be worth it. But if you can see items that are worth $35 and someone's telling you worth that $100, or you do the research and you can't really see them selling for $100, or there's lots listed and they're not selling, well then maybe that's something you need to reconsider, because there's going to be a different process cycle you have to go through to get that from onto your store and to the customer. Which actually also leads me to my next question. What's your sell-through rate? If you were to take the last 90 days, in the last year even, or in the last month, whatever period you want to use, of the items that you have listed, how many have sold? Now, there's no perfect answer to this. Is it 10%, 20%, 40%, greater than 50%? I know people selling higher than 100%, meaning they are selling more than what they can list. And this right here will also tell you what is selling and what is not. Do this quickly. Take some time and actually go through and actually understand what your percentage is. Now, what this also tells you is if you had 100 items today and you were able to list 100 items and your sell-through rate was 40%, it might mean that you're able to, if you list 100 items today, that in 30 days, you could potentially sell 40 of them. And this is why it becomes super, super important, because we can start to run the math and we can start to forecast this out and understand, okay, this is going to work really, really well in our favor. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, this is actually true, Chris. If I can get 100 items, this would be perfect. But I can't get 100 items. We're going to get to that in a second. So if you're here and you're saying, yes, you know you need to do more of what works. But then you have asked the question, but how do I get more of what works? How can I source more? And or you're making the excuse that there just isn't enough stock. Well, I have a funny perspective for you. What if I told you there was a free $1,000 waiting for you, and all you had to do was knock on all your neighbors' doors until you found the one hiding it? All you had to do is knock on the door and say, hey, do you have the $1,000? And they say, no, not me. You go to the next one, they say, oh, yep, it's me. And you found it in 2 doors. All you had to do was knock on 2 doors. Or maybe you would have had to go through the whole community and knock on 175 houses. How much would you be willing to do? Would you be willing to do it if you can get a free $1,000? And obviously, the more dollars, the more motivation you're going to have. But there is some logic from this that applies to sourcing also. We need to ask. Now, do hear me out. There is a bit of a spin to it. I mean, look, you could literally just go around, start knocking on people's doors and saying, hey, look, this is what I do. Is there anything that you can sell? Is there anything that you would like me to help you with consignment or anything like that? But if we pull it back a little bit to the premise of just asking, what does this actually mean? So when you go op shopping, asking the store folk if they have X, Y, or Z, which is the item that you sell more of, you want to ask them, do you have any of these out the back? Do you have any of these? Do you see a lot of these come through? Now, if you're a regular there, if they know who you are, if they see you around the block all the time and you have a bit of a presence or a bit of respect there, you might be able to ask them, if any of this kind of stuff comes in, can you give me a call? Here's a business card. Or can you reach out to me? Or could you let me know? Or, if they don't mind, can they hold it for you? And these kind of conversations, it's just asking. Worst they're going to say is no. But how many op shops do you go to? How many places are you going to source? There's great opportunity out there. That's just by simply asking. The next one is tell people what you do, but ask them, is there anything that they want to sell? Meaning maybe they want to get rid of it, or maybe they do want to learn how to sell, or maybe you could do it on consignment for them. You could buy it off them, or you could do it on consignment, and there's no cost up front. Again, asking people, but telling people what you do, and then asking them if there is anything that you can sell for them. A lot of the time, people don't understand or see the value of what they have because it might be emotional attachment, or maybe they just never thought about it and it's been sitting in the attic or in the basement for a very, very long time. The next place you can ask is ask in your network or in your community. If you do not ask the question, how can someone give you the chance, right? Yes, you might get rejected, but without asking, you're always going to have the answer no, which means you're always going to miss out. Some of my best contacts, some of my best things that I do now is from asking or having conversations with people, reaching out to the network, telling people what I do, making it very, very upfront and very, very real. The next thing you can do is ask yourself, yes, we're still talking about asking, ask yourself this question, and you will probably laugh at this, but it's super important. And the question you need to ask yourself is, how can I source lots of this item? Now, this is a simple question, really. When we start to break it down, outside the box of walls that we have built ourselves, our thinking into, we can actually start to see there is so much opportunity out there on how we can sort. Now, we can do this by challenging assumptions and constraints. We can do this by reversing the problem or considering an opposite outcome. We can seek diverse perspectives from people with different backgrounds. We can also go through the process of mind mapping and visualizing, exploring the ideas. We could introduce a randomness to this or an unpredictability into how you think. You could adopt a different perspective, such as those of a different persona, or you could combine ideas from different domains and generate new possibilities. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, this is all a bit fluffy. Help me understand this. Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take you through some examples and help you see how when we apply some different perspectives, when we apply some different questions, we can actually get some really, really interesting results. I will put the big fat caveat here though. You still need to go do this. Like, you can't just ask a question, oh, I want 1,000 shoes and 1,000 shoes arrive. But you need to understand, okay, if you can identify ways that you could potentially source 1,000 shoes, you need to then go try this, put in the work to do it, build the relationships, have the conversations, and be willing to spend the money as well. So let's do an example of challenging assumptions and constraints. And in this case, we're going to say we want to source more shoes. Basically, this means we want to question any assumption you might have thought about traditional sourcing at the moment and remove some of those limitations. So the first assumption is that sourcing shoes can only be done through thrift stores or online marketplaces. So the challenge here is to explore alternative channels, such as consignment stores, such as flea markets, garage sales, estate states, local classified ads, or even connecting directly with individuals through social media platforms. Right there. That's 4 or 5 different avenues that you could potentially source. If you're only sourcing from an op shop and you're saying, I can't find any more shoes, you're only going to one place where the shoes can be found. So start to broaden your horizons, challenge the normal places. The next assumption could be there's only popular or trendy shoe brands that are worth selling, meaning you're thinking, it's only the Nike Air Jordans. Well, have you considered niche markets? Or have you gone through any specific customer market segments that may have unique preferences? Have you done some research? Have you explored vintage types of shoes, retro style shoes, limited edition releases, niche categories or athletic shoes, or maybe there's another set of type of shoe that you weren't aware of? And they don't even have to be designer brands. They might just be sustainable footwear. Think about these. These are all different opportunities still in the shoe category that you might not have thought of. What about the assumption of, I'm trying to source shoes in my local area and this is the best way for me to do it? Well, is it? Is this really the best way? Can you look into international suppliers? Can you look for wholesalers? Can you look for people that only sell certain brands, that only sell certain styles, that are abundant and have them at lower prices? Can you explore the possibility of importing pre-owned shoes in bulk for resale? The next assumption may be sourcing pre-owned shoes requires significant upfront investment or inventory management. Now look, most of the time, if we're going to start to expand and we want to do more of the same, it might mean we have to spend more. But, there's other options. Can you go through consignment? Is there ways that you can drop ship with a supplier? I'm not encouraging drop shipping. I'm just giving you some examples and breaking down this scenario. Can you partner with people where you handle their inventory for them and you manage the logistics on their behalf? Again, different ways of doing business, but there's more ways we can do business in order to get the results that we want. What about the assumption of, I can only source shoes if I'm doing it myself? No one else knows what I know. Well, have you considered forming partnerships or collaborations with other resellers or other thrift stores or consignment shops or places where these shoes are going to be, where you might not necessarily be able to be 24/7? Can you explore this pool of resources? Can you explore this opportunity by banding together with other people to help participate in making this effort less work? Having a picker, having people that know that's what you're looking for. Look, you might go there and realize, okay, it wasn't a shoe, but people are still looking. It means you're getting results. Now, the big assumption that is probably coming up in a lot of categories is the shoe resale market is saturated, or it's making it very difficult to find quality stock. Again, this is where we need to start thinking creatively. We need to find ways about accessing unique sources. For example, if you can establish a relationship with a local business, such as a dance studio, what about a theater? What about a costume rental company, or someplace that might have a surplus of, very lightly used shoes and would be willing to sell them? Again, I don't know. Now, I'm not going to go start selling shoes. I don't know anything about shoes. I've just purely done some quick research, done some thinking, gone through the process of putting assumptions down and breaking it down and giving you some answers. That's all I've done. You need to do this with your own niche. You need to think outside of the box, or get in a room, get on the phone with a friend and challenge the norm. Get them to really challenge you about how you think. Now, we can do this with so many different things. Reversing the problem. For instance, instead of focusing on sourcing shoes, consider how you could attract sellers who want to offload their pre-owned shoes to you. How can you bring the people to you that want to sell them rather than you go looking for the people that are selling them? Can you seek diverse perspectives of this? Engage with individuals who already have the experience in the shoes industry or in thrift stores or in online marketplace, and gain their insights and get valuable information from them to help you understand where you could potentially source from. Can you use a mind mapping exercise? Now, this isn't for everyone, but you could create a visual map so you can start to see on paper where are all the potential sourcing channels. Jot down all the consignment stores, all the online marketplaces, all the social media groups, all the local networks, and start to identify the connections and the possibilities of where you could dive into each avenue. Embracing randomness, explore unconventional avenues of how you go about sourcing these shoes. As we said, it might be going to estate sales, it might be reaching out to a costume rental company, or it might be exploring with international suppliers, thinking outside the box. The other way is adopting different perspectives. Consider how a shoe enthusiast or a fashion blogger or someone who likes to collect sneakers would approach such a sourcing process. How do they get their shoes? Understand how they do it, and then you can probably leverage that information. The other way you can do this is you can combine these ideas, explore combinations of these different things that we've just gone through. How can you combine them? How can you work in different ways? How can you connect with different people in different locations? How can you collaborate with people in partnerships? What about influencers? There's so many ways we can do this. Again, we just have to be willing to think and be willing to do the work. Now, this is the tip of the iceberg. When we start to stretch our boundaries of thinking, we can actually enable more opportunity. And as I said, I'm not going to start selling shoes. I'm really just wanting to share with you that there is an opportunity out there. Now, I will say this is I'm not going to do this for you. And I've been saying this through the whole message, that I'm not going to do the work for you. You have to go do the work. No one else is going to do the work for you. You have to find and identify what it is that works for you, meaning what is getting you the most dollars and what turns over the quickest, what gives you the best profit, that sells quickly, that is easy to list, and that you're able to get a lot of. Now, if you're not able to get a lot of it, that's why we went through this process. Now, the other thing we need to consider is if you do more of this, you need to make sure that your processes are working, that you can fund such things, right? If I was to tell you that, you sold something for $100 each and it cost you $35 a piece, and let's say you had 5 of them, you just had a bit of cash at the time and you were able to invest it. If there was 1,000 of these items available right now for $35,000, how are you going to pay for that? Now, I'm not saying you should go out and try and figure out how to get $35,000, but my point is if you want to do volume, you also need to make sure that you have the dollars to be able to do it. So we do need to consider those factors as well. And it might mean you need to start smaller, build, then scale, build into scale, build scaling, right? Take your time. So it might mean you start with 10, or it might mean you start with 5, or it might mean you start with 100. However many it takes you to get into a bit of a process, into a bit of a procedure, because you got to list it, you got to photo it, you got to put it in your inventory, and then you got to post it, and you got to package it, you got to pick it, and you got to get it to your customer. So there's a lot of things that happen in that workflow, and you want to make sure you can do that as quickly as possible, effectively if possible, and in a way that's going to give high quality. You have to be willing to invest the time, invest the money, and invest in researching, in learning, and acquiring the knowledge to make this as easy as possible for you. Now, there is one more thing that I will leave you with, is the other question that you can ask yourself is, if this was easy, what would it look like? And this is a nice little exercise that Tim Ferriss likes to do. I've actually done a couple of videos on this in the past. Now, for shoes again, it might mean that if this was easy, there would be a lot of diverse and accessible sourcing options. There would be an abundance of high quality inventory. There would be a streamlined inventory management and drop shipping option. There would be collaboration and partnerships within the industry. There would be a unique sourcing opportunity through local businesses or local organizations. There would be a favorable market in terms of conditions with high demand and limited competition. There would be efficient and smooth sourcing processes. There would be an emphasis on sustainability and ethical sourcing. And there would also be positive relationship with sellers and low barriers to entry for aspiring resellers. If these do not exist, that's what you create. That's why you go through it. You lay out what the perfect world looks like. If it was going to be easy, what would it look like? And then go tackle these areas. Go build these areas. Go build that into the niche of that community if it does not exist. And that's how you can then start to solve the problem of your bigger problem, meaning how do I source more shoes, or how do I source more of X, Y, Z? So if they do not exist, you create them. You connect with people, you build relationships, you ask questions, and you seek opportunity. So that right there is the thing that you can do for your business right now, right today. All of this, what I've just shared with you. If you have any questions about this, any comments, more than happy to continue the conversation. We're going to dive into what's been selling for this week of week 130 since I started reselling. And yeah, but if you do want to continue the conversation, chuck it down below and let's have that conversation. So what's been selling this week? Surprisingly, it's actually been pretty good. We've sold a lot of clothing, electronics, jeans, books, toys, and then a few other things down below. Clothes bringing in over $1,500 in revenue, jeans bringing in over $433 in revenue, and electronics, which is a lot of my consignment work, bringing in over $537 worth of revenue. Unbelievable. It's been a very rewarding week, and I'm hitting the targets that I want to be hitting at this point. In terms of the top items that have been selling, look, these aren't necessarily the top items of these categories or anything. These are just some pretty cool items that I wanted to share with you. So top item number one for this week was actually this Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers illustrated version by Alan Lee, 1996. Now, I've had this one sitting around for a while. Now, I will just say one thing quickly. For all these items, the cost of goods are all going to be the same, $5.42. And that's because I use an average weighting of my cost of goods. And that is because we've now moved into a new financial year. As with progress across, all my remaining stock that I had from the previous financial year moves across to the new value based on how much stock I have and how much that stock is worth. So there is an average cost of good across the board now, because none of these items are necessarily new items that I've purchased this financial year. They're purely items that I've had in my inventory over the last 1 or 2 years. Don't know what I'm talking about? Do seek some insight from your own accountant. All right, so this item, cost of good, $5.42. Revenue for this one was $64.75. It's gone all the way over to Canada, or maybe it was UK. And the profit on this will be $40.30. Top item number two was this Brooks & Dunn Panhandle Slim shirt. Now, once again, averaging out the cost of goods, works out to be about $5.42. I actually probably paid 3 times that. Quite a rare piece, this Brooks & Dunn. Really did pop, and I was able to actually sell this one off to some fellow friends. Retro Rescuers, really do appreciate them for reaching out. I was able to sell it to them a lot cheaper than what I had it listed for as well. And I'm always happy to help people out. Of course, I've got to make some money as well. I've got to pay for my costs and things like that as well. So, obviously I can't give you items for free, but more than happy to do a good deal of what something's worth, like less than what something's worth, to give you a good little deal. So I got $50 for this, profited around $35 after fees and postage. Top item number 3 for this week was this R.M. Williams quilted navy vest. Now this one I picked up in the thrift. Again, average cost of good was $5.42. I think I actually paid about $12 for it. And I've been able to sell it for $58, and after fees and postage, walking away with $34.59. And the fourth item for this week is this Assassin's Creed bundle of 7 books. These originally cost me about $3 each, which meant I probably paid close to $21 to $28 for these, depending on the size of the book. But this cost of good comes to $5.42, and I've been able to sell it for $50, and after fees and postage, walking away with $26.87 back into my pocket. Now, I just want to recall again, if you don't understand the whole average cost of good thing, go speak to your accountant. This is only because I've transitioned into a new financial year. So going forward, anything that I buy will not be $5.42. No, it's what I pay for it. But essentially, because I've transitioned across with all my remaining goods, it's now just reset the average cost of goods. Go speak to your accountant. All right, in terms of the actual week, how it's actually progressed, it's actually been pretty good. We've done 101 sales, margin just below 50%. Cost of goods has been $509. Sold $3,407 worth this week with a profit of $1,677. ASP being $33.74 with an average cycle time of 84 days. So not too bad at all. Now, if you're stuck around this long, we're going to jump into some show and tell. So let's dive in. All right, team, Monday morning, we are back and we've got 10 more packages to go out. Ironically, I did it all yesterday and there was still more that came through. A lot of these came through this morning, so pretty happy with this. We've got a whole bunch of different stuff here. We've got actually a lot of books. Got some media. We've got some trains going out as well. This guy, this is through my consignment deal. And then we've got a few couple of pieces of clothing going out. And this guy as well. He's gone for, I think he went for $39, which is pretty cool. So yeah, not too bad. We're gonna pack all this up now and then get out of here. Cheers. All right, team, that's a wrap. All packed up and ready to go. I'm gonna go do a quick little cheeky thrift just on the way home, and got to do some shuffling and changing things around back at home with some dead stock. That's where all my unlisted stock is. So shuffling a few things around, that's really what I'm focusing on this week, is just making sure I'm getting ahead on any old stock, def piles, things that, you know, need to be moved. Priority last month was to really move that stuff. There's still a bit that I haven't got to, so focusing on if there's any quick wins for this financial year. Already found a few things like those Bionicles and things like that from the other day, which was last week. All right, let's get out of here, and I'll see you probably tomorrow, actually, Tuesday. All right, team, back here. It's Tuesday. Actually had quite a few sales come through overnight. We've got lots of clothes. We've got some activewear shorts. We've got some fleeces, jeans, shirts. We have this Sony Walkman. This is part of one of my consignment deals. It's a new Sony Walkman, which is just pretty cool. That sold for 119, parts not working. We've got the VHS clamshell going out, some Ann Rule, they do really well, some Assassin's Creed, and that's pretty much it. Here working on some other stuff as well, but really just going to be focusing on this, keeping you lingering. Big changes coming, so just working on getting all that right before I share all those details with you. All right, let's pack it all up. All right, team, we're back here on Thursday. Another day, we're doing it again. And a few more items going out. Lots of jeans, actually, just in the last 24, 48 hours. We've got 19 items going out. We're still above 40,000. Lots of jeans, surprisingly. This Brooks and Dunn has sold. This one's going actually out to Retro Rescuers. Big shout out to them. Thank you, team, for supporting the business. Hope you enjoy this little number. It's really nice. We've got some other stuff going out. We've got a heavy denim Gap shirt. We've got some Xbox games, some phones. For some reason, we had a whole bunch of hardback. These are all individual sales. Just books going out. Again, lots of jeans. This Layover movie has gone, it's gone for about $49 over to the UK. And then these are just some bread and butters. We also do have some Pokemon cards as well, which a big shout out to all the folks that have been supporting. I'll do that at the end. And I'm about to tune into Drew's live stream for 11 o'clock. So keen to have you on in the background. I'm going to do this packing and then work on a few other admins. So let's get to it. All right, team, all packed up. Still got Drew in the background. Sorry, Matt, I've just put you on mute. We've got all the different cards going out. So big thank you to all of you folks that have put money in for the fundraiser for Backpack for Their Kids. We did over $625 last night. So a big thank you to you all. I'm not going to go through what people got or anything because they're all sealed up already, but go watch the live stream if you want to check out. There's some pretty cool hits. So congratulations to you all, and thank you so much. I'm going to pack these up. All right, team, we're here on Friday. Busy week, and also we've got 17 items going out. Just so you can see that work too well. We're on 40,279. few things going out. We've got quite a lot of clothing going out. We've got jeans, some jackets and things. We've got some Transformer figurines going out. A calculator, a Walkman that's going out as a gift to someone. Some trains and some media. So a bit of everything. It's been a busy day here, guys. I'm just going to leave it there. All right, let's pack it all up. So there you go. Now, I have been alluding to some big changes coming. I will be sharing all those details in the next coming weeks, probably. Might even be not this week, the next week, actually. I'm just finalizing a few things, wanting to test out a few processes and then share with you a bit more information. It's nothing crazy. Some of you might have already realized, but I'm excited to be able to share my growth and my next moves with you all because you've been coming along this far with me. So I share this because it keeps myself accountable. Hopefully it inspires other people and, you'll learn something along the way as well. And look, the worst thing that happens is things don't go as planned, but it's a learning process. But I'm excited for it. So hold on a little bit longer. Subscribe to the channel, make sure you are following along because, as I said, there's going to be some pretty cool things coming. Appreciate you being here. If you do have any questions, comments, chuck them down below. Otherwise, you have a wonderful day. Cheers.